Good evening and welcome to the Red Sea podcast. I'm your host, the Southern Scouser. I am joined by Courtney, Peter and George. This is your Fab 4 Brighton preview.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. Got Paisley and plus Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
So, good evening, everyone. Courtney, how are you doing?
I'm just so glad it's Friday. The
Friday
weekend, I've been waiting a long time for this.
It's a long week, but it's been all right. We had a bit of midweek action. George, nice little 2-0 win. Did you catch any of it with the Preston game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, me and Pete were chatting about it, how it's simultaneously really boring, but at the same time, it's nice to watch a match when you can just watch it without the pressure of the Premier League and all that. So yeah, it was nice. Yeah, good win.
Yeah.
Divock being weird as always, but there you go.
That was my next question, Peter. What a goal! Scorpion. He's in a Giroud. Divock Origi.
Did he know he did that?
Just improvisation.
Can I just say very quickly? Pete will know this. There's a suburb in Sydney called Earlwood where you would play they call it park soccer. I mean,
Okay.
wrong word, obviously. But they would do that kick when they were lazy and they couldn't be bothered turning. They would just flick their leg up and it would just hit their leg. I wonder if he's just done I don't want to chase it. And then it's just bang, he just hit it into the goal.
Oh,
He
goodness.
really said that his yoga's been paying off.
Yeah, right.
Well,
It's just Divock in a nutshell, that one. I'm just going to stick a leg here and see what happens. And it just bloody goes in. And then typical Divock fashion doesn't celebrate because I swear to God, I'm convinced 9 out of 10 times he doesn't know he scored. That's it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a come down, wasn't it? From the Man United game at the weekend, the level of performance, the goals, and then the first hour of that game was shocking. So boring. Even the commentators were doing their best, but they were like, "I'm sorry, I just there's nothing else to say about this game."
Yeah,
He had we just had the one dude that's in the cage on his own, just going and here it is with Origi. Oh, he's got rid of it, hasn't he? And he's just like,
Oh, you just
I
had
love
one
when they don't even bother with their
we went in
co-commentator,
one.
they just have the one.
Well, that's a hard job on your own.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. Anyway, we've got business to discuss going forwards. It's the next stop on the revenge tour. This one is one that hurt me last season. Brighton at home. The recent head-to-head 1-0 defeat at Anfield back in February. That horrible run of 6 defeats in a row at Anfield, which I never thought was actually going to end at one point. But one before that, we drew 1-1 away to Brighton in November. Again, that was a pretty sickening one where I think there was a penalty in the last minute of the game. Robertson, was it on Welbeck? I'm trying to remember the game now, but
the massive dive. That was that.
Yeah.
That was that. No chance it was a pen, that one.
that's awful. It's so annoying. But like you say, we got 1 point out of a possible 6 against Brighton last season, so we can already beat that tomorrow with a victory. So, what do we think, Courtney? I'll come back to you. Brighton, obviously decent form. They're flying under Potter. They're 5th in the Premier League. Not been in the greatest of form lately, though. They've drew with Palace, drew with Arsenal 0-0, drew with Norwich 0-0, and got a pasting off Man City. So, what can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they started off quite well, but they're slowly declining. I feel pretty confident going into it. I think it's a sure thing. The fact that they've drew with Norwich, Arsenal, the thrashing 4-1 from City.
Yeah,
I think it's a 3 points in the bag situation for us, to be honest. But
well,
touch wood. Don't jinx
I wish I had her confidence. Honest to God, it's like I'm confident we're going to win, but not to deliver it like that. Like, yeah, sure thing, no problem. We're going to go to sleep now. See you later.
Yeah.
But you weren't even confident at 4-0 against United, were you, Pete? You were waiting for the 8.
No, I need 8.
Until you're like, no, I dropped down.
Yeah, so that's just how I am in general.
Edge of your seat stuff. No, it's good. But I mean, George, looking at Liverpool's recent form, a bit of a contrast to Brighton's. Won our last 4 games with 2-0 Preston, 5-0 United, 3-2 Atletico, and 5-0 Watford. Absolutely flying. Can we carry on that form? Are we going to just blow Brighton away, or could you see a bit more of a chess match going on?
It's weird because Brighton, me and Pete were talking about it on the training ground. They're not outperforming, they're not underperforming. If anything, that's probably a little bit of outperforming, but they're finding yards in different areas of the pitch. Like we noticed, this is really strange. They've got loads of yellow cards. They've got the most in the Premier League, actually, or just behind Newcastle with 23 compared to Liverpool's 9. But they've both committed the same amount of fouls, 87 fouls each or something like that. And so they must be like pulling players down, or they must be going in really tough, maybe tactical fouls. So they're finding yards in areas of the pitch. And the reason I bring that up with regards to Liverpool's form is that Liverpool's kind of the opposite of that, where they're really strong. You know, they don't need the yards at the moment. So I think what Liverpool are doing really, really well is creating 4 or 5 really big chances per match. We in that run of 6 games, I was using this analogy in my head as you said it. I'm like, it reminds me of, for all those PlayStation players out there, like playing FIFA a little bit drunk, and you're like 6 games, you've just lost 6 games. You're like, I'm gonna step away right now. No, I'm and then you just like lose 7. Like Liverpool's like, bro, just win a game, do something different, maybe take a step back, take a rest. But Liverpool aren't in that situation right now. It's kind of the opposite, you know, where really Pete loves my FIFA analogies.
I swear to God, I love them.
But yeah, like I think we're creating chances. And another thing that Pete and I saw was this Brighton team, you know, kind of what they do, I think suits the teams that they've played, where they kind of send everyone forward and then they leave their back three really, really, really close together. And it looked like a picture that Man United had, where all their defenders just come into the center. And I feel like maybe there's a chance there, especially the way Liverpool have been playing with the front three breaking so effectively. Yeah, I have a feeling Liverpool can score goals in this one. It's coming back to that thing of we just need to keep a clean sheet, I would say.
No, I agree. And I think that's something that I've noticed a little bit more, Peter, this season of Liverpool just being so much more direct with the ball. A lot of the time last year, we'd have, 80% possession and just get caught on the counter against the likes of Burnley, against Brighton, against Newcastle, and get stung really with that killer kind of blow. But I see us a little bit more direct this season, doing more with the ball. Mo Salah obviously on fire. Centre backs actually playing at centre back. So what can we expect? Because Brighton obviously play with that back five, like George touched. But I don't see Brighton as a part of the bus kind of team at the minute.
Now Brighton's interesting because everyone talks about Graham Potter, who I'm a fan of. He's got them playing like attacking football. They're brave, they're aggressive, they press, and they've often spoke about how they attack and they just want to attack. But it's actually the defensive side of things that's actually super impressive. So take away the City game where they've copped 4. Before that match, they only conceded 5. And I think they're the 4th in the Premier League for least conceded goals. So they're actually very good defensively. And that's going to be the tough task because I can't see them coming to us and trying to take the front foot early. I think they will try and wait for their moments a bit more. But I think why we're a bit more direct this year is because I think Klopp's gone for a risk versus reward kind of thing where he's got our midfielders committing forward, as we've seen for the first time, I think, since Klopp came to the club. Our midfielders are scoring, getting a lot more assists. And it's so good to watch because myself, I need midfielders to get involved and score because I grew up on Gerrard and I've got Gerrard icons I pray to at night. Like it's got
a tattoo on your leg, don't you?
Yeah, there's that too. So it's one of them ones. Like we've got to. I love our midfielders getting involved, and I think that's only this year because Van Dijk's back. So with Van Dijk there and our defenders now, whether it's Matip, who's Lionel Matip this season, or Konate, who's like the Hulk standing next to Van Dijk, we're quite safe at the back now to kind of get that everybody kind of commit forward and trying to let Salah obviously just off the chain kind of thing. So it's interesting, but I do see, as I agree with George, I do see us scoring goals in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So got one for you, Courtney, and it's from Barker Senior. Obviously, I think they are gonna hit us on the counter attack. I think any team that comes to Anfield or goes to the Etihad, or Stamford Bridge, they'd be silly not to try and hold them out and hit them on the counter. So, do you think Adam Lallana, someone that we know very well, is going to have a big part to play in this game, or do you think it's more going to be the Trossards and the Mopes that are just going to get 1 or 2 chances in this game rather than Lallana getting on the ball too much?
I feel like Maupay is probably like, is a decent player. I feel like he's going to have the most chances, really. I feel like Lallana might have a bit more insight into how we play,
Yeah.
how we're going to set up. And I rate Lallana. I do really rate him. It's a shame he had to go, but he just wasn't at the standard that we're at. But I'm hoping that we won't get overrun in the midfield. And I can't see that happening. To be honest with you, I feel like it'll be quite a one-sided game.
You're very confident. You're going clean
It's
sheet.
unbelievable. It's
90
unbelievable.
possession, 4 goals.
Go have faith, man. Gotta have
To be
faith.
fair, you did say in the United preview.
Liverpool icons and everything.
No,
Need some more faith.
I was saying that a draw wasn't the end of the world with United, and Courtney was shooting me down. So fair play to her.
I'm still a little bit vexed about that. I actually came back in the group chat after the game.
You did. You had a little elbow, but fair play. You called that one. So yeah. Different kind of game, though, isn't it? I don't think it's going to be a 5-0, but we've touched on the midfield, George. That was something I wanted to kind of get onto because we've seen Thiago and Keita back in training this week. I think Milner had a knock, Fabinho had a knock. So in terms of how Liverpool line up, what kind of midfield three do you expect to see?
Well, again, I think I might just go with borderline what we predicted on the training ground, but since then LFC have put. This is why it's like a poison chalice doing that show. Whenever we do it, there's always going to be information coming out. The next day. Maybe we should wait for the press conference. But yeah, Thiago thumbs up. Naby Keita thumbs up. It looks like Fabinho might even be in and around. Has he been in the training photos, Fabinho?
I haven't seen him.
I didn't see any.
I haven't seen him actually. No.
Okay, well, so at least we got Thiago, and they were doing the sprint work where they were passing the ball into a wooden plank or whatever it was. So yeah, having said that, I mean, we had said if Fabinho's fit, it would be Fabinho, Henderson on the right, and then Jones on the left.
Okay.
But if Fabinho isn't fit, then you would just continue with Henderson at the base. I think Keita can come in on the right and then Jones on the left, even though Jones has played midweek. I'm not sure if Thiago comes in from the start. However, this is the thing with the way Klopp's treated injuries. It's not the Brendan Rodgers thing. Brendan Rodgers would wait until the player was declared fit from the medical team and then throw them in. Whereas Jurgen Klopp seems to go, I don't want to know until he's fully 100% fit. And so I'm not sure if that's why we're getting photos of him. I don't know if that's just to tide us over until he is available in 3 or 4 weeks, whatever. But usually when a player is available to Klopp, they're fully available. It's a bit of match fitness. But yeah, again, a lot of possession, game at Anfield. It is the type of scenario that Thiago would be better in coming in. I think a hard away game with a lot of tackles and stuff might be difficult. Having said that, coming up with that point again with Brighton, whether they make tactical fouls or they make really, really bad fouls to get 23 yellows compared to Liverpool's 9, maybe that's something that Thiago may not be able to deal with. But just one more thing on Lallana. I think me and Pete, again, we were saying this, Basuma obviously has his issues, and Lallana comes in at the base of the midfield. I don't know when he does, but that's when Brighton start to kind of go down. So on the question of Lallana, I think we should be, actually both Pete and I both think that we should be targeting him. I think he's a bit of a sick note. I don't think he can run as much as he used to. Just buzz around him. They do have more in midfield than us, but I reckon we buzz around Lallana. Maybe if it's Firmino, I was even saying if it's Firmino, he'll make a meal of him. If it's Jota, I think because Lallana is kind of less mobile than he used to be, I think even Jota can make a meal of him, and then he can score his scrappy goals the way he usually does.
No, it's a really interesting point that you make with the Basuma to Lallana, because like you said, totally different kind of style players. And you're right, Lallana has been playing in that kind of position, which it doesn't really suit him for me. He, like you say, he's not really got the legs for wide, but he's definitely not a base. He's I guess they're planning him as a deep lying playmaker, but it's not really worked for him so far. But kind of reminds me of the rest of our midfielders with his injury record. I'm sure when we did the Brighton 1-0 away, he went off after about half an hour with an injury in that game as well. So it's more than likely he'll probably not finish the 90. But you touched on the Jota Firmino decision as well. And Pete, I guess it's a decision of 50-50 between them two, and probably at the back as well. We've seen Matip play midweek. So does Konate keep his place in the Premier League team, or do we see Matip and Van Dijk again?
For me, just on the Firmino Jota thing, it's never 50-50 with me. It's always Firmino. So regardless of form, he's Yeah, that's I'm
Courtney
just
loves
absolute.
Bobby. He's just like, yep.
For me,
Big
it's
Bobby.
always and forever. That's never a question with me. But I said to George actually midweek, I said I would have to play Konate just because it's a home game, and I think he deserves the praise from the cop end, from everybody really, after just manhandling all of them, not just
Yeah.
literally manhandling Fred, saying you go there, Bruno Fernandes, I'll pick you up, you go there. I guess no, it's and then them bashing Ronaldo half the time. So I think that he definitely needs to start just to receive that kind of reception from the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think, as I was saying to George, at the end of the day, he's meant to be Van Dijk 2.0. He's meant to be the one that kind of continues the mantle once Van Dijk eventually retires with us at 85 years old. But it's something that, okay, Matip is excellent and he's been unbelievable this season. But I think we've got to start looking at Konate as the next one and start getting him involved.
Well,
I agree.
Apparently everyone's singing his praises with Konate in training. Apparently he's just overperforming. He's doing amazing. So I think Klopp is trying to squeeze him in a bit more slightly, edge him in.
I mean, we did see he didn't feature too much within the last month, and he was chucked into that Man United game. I think that was his first minutes for a good few weeks. And like Pete said, he was absolutely fantastic. And even though he wasn't really challenged too much, he did have work to do. He was against Cristiano Ronaldo, and he made pretty light work of it, didn't he? So I expect to see him play tomorrow. But Atletico Madrid are coming up midweek. We need to start using this squad. We need to rotate. So is there anyone that you think we might see a surprise, Courtney? Do you think we might see a Tsimikas? Do you think we might see something else come in there with Atletico in mind? Because if we avoid defeat against Atletico, you would think we're all but in the last 16.
I mean, to be honest, I've probably got a bit of an unpopular opinion. For me, Robbo's just not been on form for me. I feel like he's losing the ball a lot.
They're ready. They want to jump in.
See, Courtney, it's not unpopular because we're with you, George and myself. Wait, which way? This way. This way. No, we're definitely with you. And again, it's not a debate thing where we're going to try and start World War III with everybody. It's just with exactly what Courtney said. It's just at the moment, it's not the super fresh Energizer Bunny.
No, it's not what he was. I feel like he is just losing the ball a lot. There's a lot of times I'll be seeing it and I'm like, how have we just lost that? And I'm like, it's Robbo again. It's Robbo again. And I'm just like...
It's the style, and we've brought this up before. It's the style of play of the two, It's if you and it doesn't mean what it's going to sound like, but Tsimikas is a better, footballer in the terms of technical.
I can't believe what I'm hearing with you three.
Hold on. I'm saying baller. You know what I mean? Like he can trap the ball under his foot. He rolls it around. He's got good technique. Whereas Robbo, he's a better, again, footballer, like this one, like most, like the overall, like with the ball at his feet, Tsimikas, he can trap the ball a lot better. His technique's a lot better. We've been seeing him get, a lot of assists from set pieces. So his little weapons that he can use are what's getting him through, like in terms of the performances so far this season. The thing is, Robbo is ingrained in this Liverpool side. He's got way more chemistry with the side. And he's also, like Pete and I always say, one of the best left backs, if not the best left back in the world. So I still think Robbo edges it. Yeah, I still think Robbo edges it. But there are little things like, for example, like if you just saw both of them doing skills and whatnot in front of you, you would say, oh, Tsimikas has to be the best player. But then you see them play 90. Obviously, Robbo is a better player. But that's why Tsimikas is kind of sneaking in a little bit. There are little technical things that I think he's better than Robbo at.
Yeah, I get that. Honestly, I'm just thinking it's a good job I don't get pocket money anymore because that.
Mr. Barker does not agree. I think I'm in the minority here, but for me, Tsimikas, yeah, he had a couple of good assists against Norwich. It's not hard. Robertson is twice the player he is for me. Tsimikas looks like he's half asleep every single time I see him.
He does look knackered, doesn't he?
He does look knackered. His concentration is poor. His positional awareness is poor. He's all right on the ball now and again against weaker opposition. But for me, if you put Tsimikas in against any of the top six, I think he would be found out Alberto Moreno style pretty quickly.
I was about to say that. Really, it's a really great comparison. You literally took the words out of my mouth. He feels like Alberto Moreno because I think that they're both jokers and like really, really cool, like in the dressing room. But when they're on the pitch, you see Robbo doesn't screw around. Tsimikas still feels like this clown when he's on the field. So, I think that's a major reason why maybe Klopp is kind of like, look, I love you, Costas, but, Robbo is that ice cold killer on the pitch. And yeah, again, he's still the more experienced of the two, but it's just, I mean, Tsimikas has got that Moreno style craziness, the karate kicks and whatnot, but he does at this moment seem to be a little bit more composed than Moreno, which is very good news.
But I wouldn't
have to
be
jump.
mad if he's not coming in like for the smaller games, not the big ones. Go on, Pete.
But I'll just jump in with this, and I will finish this conversation now because I know this can go on forever, this one. But it's simple as, at what point, though, does someone get a chance to have a run of games to have a look if he can compete in the top six against the top six? Because if we continue to play a player that maybe looks, let's just say, a little bit run down or maybe needs a bit of a break, because he was excellent against Atletico Madrid. He was unbelievable. He was everywhere. He was an animal. But at what point do you say, let's just going to keep playing him until he, until what happens? Like, I think we need to keep him, especially the way he plays. I think we do need to keep fresh when we can. Like, for example, you look at the Watford game. Like, really, did we need him against Watford? Like, not really, because there's, that was fucking embarrassing. But it's one of those ones that we need to see him play to see if he is a Roberto Moreno, which he's 1,000 times better than. But we need to just see him in a bit of run of games, because we saw against Leeds and the way he started the season, he was phenomenal. He's already on the same amount assist as Robbo in 2021 still, and he's played God knows how many less games.
Is it
so
460 minutes? Hasn't conceded a goal, by the way.
Yeah, it's one of the only players in the Premier, isn't he, to do that?
Yeah, so there is something good there. Like, it's not like he's rubbish. Oh, come on, we can't compare him. No, he's actually a good player, but it's just we're so used to seeing Robbo perform at a level that no one can at the moment. That's all.
No, I agree. I think you have to use your squad, and I think there's a little bit of catalysts in there where you're saying Tsimikas hasn't conceded a goal, but for me, he's played in the games where you would expect us not to, and I think Robertson has played against the better teams where you are more likely to concede. But
100%.
It's a good point you make, like when you say with the Watford game, Van Dijk plays 90 minutes. Did he really need to? I'm not sure, but I still think that Klopp will prioritise Brighton over Atletico Madrid because we're in such a good position in the group. I think if we were sitting on 5 points, maybe we'd be looking at Atletico thinking we need a result here. But I think even if we were to lose to Atletico Madrid, which is unlikely at home, bearing in mind we were brilliant away, I think we still go through. So this game for me is massive. But I wanted to touch on where we are in the table. We're currently 1 point off of Chelsea. Both of them have got pretty easy games. I think Man City play Palace, Chelsea play Newcastle, if I'm not mistaken. So do we expect status quo after this weekend? Everybody +3? Anyone wants to say that one?
I reckon so. I reckon it'll probably stay around the same. I feel like everyone will get the 3 points. Pretty easy game. I think it's just United that's got a bit more of a tougher run. They might just move a bit further down. Quite like that.
Well, it's how El Tactico
like sacks, that is.
Do we think he goes if he loses against Tottenham?
No.
Oof, that's an interesting question.
I don't think he will.
You think he's
I think they're stuck with him for a little bit now.
Oof.
So it's interesting that you mentioned, like, you're basically like, will the rivals keep pace, or will someone drop points? It's Crystal Palace have been really cool. So they're versing City, right? So
yeah,
they've just been cool. It's the only way. I sound like Klopp is cool. That's kind of, that can be interesting. I just think that the more against us than other teams, like teams just seem to, like, they show up against us, and then with City, they just kind of lay down and go, we're never going to get a chance here. Yeah. So I think Vieira is probably new enough to management to not do that. So that's the reason why. If it was Hodgson, forget about it. But the Newcastle game with Chelsea, they're at home. They're trying to still do this whole thing of them winning in front of their new owners, that sort of thing. So that could be. But also what I'm going to do is, which I haven't done in a long time, and I might lose a few supporters here, a few fans, but I do this because I get so depressed. I do multis with like betting, where I will bet on all the rivals at the same time and do a massive multi. And so if everyone wins on the weekend, that I've bet on, it's like it ends up being like a collection of money, and I'll buy breakfast for like the family, or I'll go do something nice with the money. I don't like, do like celebrate over it, but I kind of bet against Liverpool so that if the worst happens, I don't like off myself.
You win something, don't you?
I win
I
something.
never bet on Liverpool games. Never bet on Liverpool games.
I bet against them.
To win, I will lose.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say this. I made a fortune last year with people coming in 10-1 at Anfield. I'm like, win, and you put $10, you win $100 a game, and I'm like, oh no, this is blood money. I'm doing that again now, and I'm losing a bunch. So yeah, I mean, my decreased bank account at all. It's all
your money. You might be lose it all tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, dearie me. No, I think I was going to touch on this a little bit, Pete, but I think we've had that kind of COVID season where there was some crazy results popping up. No one was getting 90 plus points, but I feel now you're with the betting that George touches on, it's a bit safer now to just pick all the best teams, and most weeks they are going to win. Do you see these three teams just disappearing into the distance now from now on? Because I don't really see anybody else anywhere near the level of these three. And I think once we get through Christmas, we might lose one of the three, and it might become a 2-horse race. What are your thoughts on that?
Depends if we lose Salah and Mane for 8 games. It could be one. That could be us.
That was my next thing to get onto.
Yeah, so that could be us that drops off. But look, it is the three. I mean, I thought there would be a fourth at the start of the year purely because I'll admit it, I thought it would be Gollum's mate, that his crew. But it's definitely the three. But I still think City are the favourites. I mean, I don't care what it looks like now, and it's not one of those things I'm trying to, do this whole reverse psychology thing, because I tend to do that fucking so much. But it's I just think they're the favourites. I think when your team is worth $1 billion, you have to be the favourites. Like, it's just that way. It's just simple as that. I think we are in a very good place at the moment. I think we look literally bulletproof.
Yeah.
But I think as the season goes on, I think when City have to, look, I just have to make some rotations. I can put on this $85 million player. I'll put on that $100 million player. And I think long term, they have a more depth to go the distance in all fronts in terms of all the domestic competitions or the Champions Leagues and all that kind of stuff. But if it was just 11v11 the whole time, strongest 11 versus strongest 11 until the end, I would go, I think we have a very, very good chance. I just think that I think City are the solid favourites, then us. I think Chelsea will drop off eventually.
Yeah, that were my thoughts too. Courtney, are you thinking the same thing? Because I agree, the 11v11, I think that's why we won the Champions League, because we had, it's not a consistent game. And when we did win the Premier League, we were very lucky. I think we barely had any injuries to our first 11. And then when we did, it was catastrophic. So I think Chelsea are going to fall away early part of next year, and it's going to become City, Liverpool again. Or do you see something else? Because a lot of people have tipped Chelsea for the league.
No, I can see them dropping off, to be fair. I just think their style of play as well. I think that's only going to get you so far.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just nick a goal and sit back. Boring. I'm bored already. Like
back five.
it's shit. It's shit to watch. Like, being a Chelsea fan must be shit. You just sit down for 90 minutes and just see parking the bus. One goal, park the bus. Like, it's boring.
Yeah, it's not great to watch. It's effective at times, isn't it? It won the Champions League, and like you say, the best thing is playing well and winning. The next thing is not playing well and winning, and then you get Man United where you're not playing well and you're not winning.
Being an attacking team, though, is just better. I think it's just, you're going to have more success being an attacking team than you are to just grab the one goal and sit back.
Yeah, it's three very different styles, isn't it? Liverpool are very much attack this season. Man City are keep the ball, strangle the opposition, and Chelsea are very much, the opposite of that. Like you say, don't concede and nick a goal. And I look at Lukaku, I don't really think he's caught fire yet. Werner isn't one that's going to get you probably over 15 goals, definitely not touching the 20s. I still don't really know Chelsea's best team. Pulisic, Havertz, Jorginho, Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek getting in there now.
Oh.
There's, like you say, there's basically 2 11s there, and it's pretty much put them in the hat and pick them out. Even the centre halves, you've got Rudiger, Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, James. Who's it going to be? So, like Pete said, I think if 11v11, Liverpool 100%, I think, come out on top, player for player. But it's all about injuries, isn't it? And and availability, which leads me nicely on to what Pete touched on, the African Nations Cup coming up potentially in January. So there's been a few rumours that it might be postponed or cancelled. I think, is it being held in Cameroon? There's some COVID issues. Has the infrastructure been
There's
built on time? So
a bit of
George,
COVID there.
I'll
Got
let
some
you lead.
COVID on there. Hold on.
There's some COVID on there. Is it? I'll let you lead off with this one, mate. Do you see it happening? And if so, is that the end of Liverpool's title challenge this season?
For me, I mean, look, I can't believe that these things change halfway through the season. I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, like we were told this would only be 2 games. So for it to be 8 is bad. And especially because we're just not seeing Minamino or Origi get integrated into that front 3 at all.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, it leads into a mini conversation about the left side, with Jota, and everyone's talking about Jota or Firmino. I think it's now a question of Jota or Mane, because what Jota is doing is he's coming in a lot more than what Mane is. And it's kind of creating this, if you can see my hands, there's Jota and Firmino, and here's Salah. You know what I mean? It's kind of like he's there to pick up the scraps a little bit more. Mane is kind of on his own a little bit. And I think that reflects the form, even though Mane, I think, is in decent form. That was a strange decision that Klopp made there to put Jota at left wing. So I don't know. Maybe it is planning for when we don't have Mane to go. Jota is still a left winger. He can still provide that function, but we've seen no alternatives to Salah. The guy's played 90 every time. And, maybe everyone wanted to see Cade Gordon to see, can we throw a 16, 17-year-old into the starting 11 sometime soon? The answer is no. And I don't know, to answer your question, if we lose those 2 for 8 games, it's going to be really difficult. I can actually see us turning into a bit of a Chelsea. I mean, apart from that, what did they win? 7-0 against, is that Norwich? They won 7-0.
Yeah.
Look, you don't take all 7 goals off of them, but let's just say they're supposed to win that game 4-0. I mean, that puts them down to 19 goals, roughly, scored 19 or 20 goals compared to Liverpool's 27, but they've conceded 3. It's kind of like they're playing as though they've got 0 talent in the squad and they're just keeping compact. And that feels like what I think Liverpool did that when they were trying to go for 4th. Remember when we shored up everything? Emre Can was kind of flirting in midfield / a little bit in defense. And we end up winning like a bunch of games 1-0 or drawing them 0-0. That's kind of what we'd have to do if we lose Salah and Mane. I don't want to think of the prospect. There's a little bit of COVID there. They just they can see it. Don't do the African Cup of Nations. Go get the spray bottle, clean the COVID off first, and then just do the African Cup of Nations in 4 or 5 years. I mean, that's totally fine with me.
Or never.
So it's a bit of a farce, isn't it? How you're allowed to host a tournament during a season. And Pete, I just wanted to kind of get on the fact that surely Mo Salah isn't going to be doing this much hard work, because he looks so hungry to win the Prem, the Champions League, to disappear for 6 to 8 games and come back. I think we had it maybe 4 years ago when Mane was our main player and he disappeared, and there were those memes when he came back and everything's on fire. Since he's only been gone a month. So can you really see Mo Salah choosing to go and play in the African Nations Cup over playing for Liverpool in this period?
I truly believe the players themselves don't want to go during the season, like these international breaks. We've got another one in 2 weeks' time. I truly believe that the players generally don't want to go, especially during the season. Well, especially while Salah is also going for his 8th Golden Boot in 3 seasons.
Absolutely.
So it's so to leave for 8 games and allow the others to kind of catch up, or if not go over. I think that would actually kill his goal bonuses and also the contract to get his 500,000 a week. So I truly, like I said, I don't think the players enjoy going whilst the season is on, especially whilst you're a club that competes for titles or Champions Leagues or whatever it is, like a club like Liverpool. I don't think they want to go. Whereas the other ones, the bottom tier, kind of if you're 10th, 11th, I'll go on a holiday. I'll go. But I don't think they want to for us.
No, it's. I really hope they don't go, Courtney. I'm imagining you're feeling the same. If they do go, do we bring someone in on loan or someone in January to fill the void, or do we Do we go with a Firmino Jota front two and go with a back five? You know, what are the options?
First of all, you can't fill the void of
I know.
Mohamed Salah. Like it's a big void and it can't be filled. Like
agreed.
there's nobody that can replace him or do what he does. And I think he's actually been made on the national curriculum now in Egypt.
Yeah, he is in schools. Yeah,
schools. Like he's like a king. He's definitely like the Egyptian king out there. I don't know. I hope it gets cancelled, and we don't even have to worry about it. We don't have to think about it, and all will be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to affect us more than anybody else, isn't it? In the title race, you know, like you say, City might lose a Mahrez, but you know, they've only got another 7 wingers that they can choose instead. So, does anybody know much about this guy? I think he's at Red Bull Salzburg.
Would love him. Absolutely would love him. 18, 19 years old. I think he's $20 million release clause or something like that at the moment. I think if we can get him in now, I think he'd be happy to sit on the bench and be that guy who just has to wait his turn because he's so young. And at the end of the day, his competition is obviously Mane and Salah. So, or even Firmino, we can play that place as well. I think he'd be happy to know that he's got to wait at least 2 or 3 seasons. But imagine having a player with this kind of quality with Klopp for 2 or 3 seasons to kind of say, now it's your turn. So I think he'll be an absolute top signing.
And just also, I mean, he's 19. He turns 20 in January and left-footed as well. So that's what we need to at least match the dynamic of Mo Salah. That's why, I mean, the idea of Elliot on the right, we need to get used to the idea that we're going to have someone who's significantly slower. As much as I love Elliot, you know, he could be back around that time. I'm not sure, around January. Maybe not, especially because Klopp likes to be careful with his players. But you want the 2 things that Salah gives you at the very least when we brought him in. Like, because when we brought him in, we're like, is he going to score goals? Maybe. But like the Sir Alex Ferguson thing is just get them near the box and let's just see what they can do then. You know, if you've got pace and a left foot, then you're at least close enough to filling the void that Salah, you know, will be leaving if he leaves for AFCON. So yeah, Karim Adeyemi as well. It's third time lucky. We've done this a few times. We did it with Mbappe and we said, no, we're not going to pay the money for a 19-year-old. Let him go. And now he's worth 100, 200 million. We did it with Haaland.
Yeah,
we were flirting with him and we said, let him do his thing.
We're going to take Minamino.
yeah, right. But let Haaland do his thing at Dortmund and we'll buy him after for 35, 40 million. Yeah, now he's worth 200. This is third time lucky. I mean, Dakar possibly could have been that next one. But again, right-footed, more of a centre forward. This guy is scoring goals for fun. He's basically what the Dakar and Haaland replacement, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is at Salzburg, right? Yeah. So it's just the brand new goal machine. Yeah, right. And we've got the relationship with them actually. So we should also keep that in mind. So yeah, it looks like if we can get him in January, I very much doubt it. I mean, Salzburg need to go out of the Champions League and we need to do some serious, you know, buttering up. But I have a feeling he'd only be a player we'd bring in next season. I can't see it happening in January, but I would love it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Are we going to back FSG to pull their finger out? They didn't last January. If we do lose Mane and Salah, for me, that's the difference between winning the title and not. If they do go, that is the end of it. So we either accept that or we get someone in, whether that be short term, whether that be someone young that's like you say is happy to bide their time, or we go for another one in that front four and make it a front five, because realistically when we get an injury to that front four, it's back to the front three and they literally have to play 90 minutes of every single game. So I wouldn't be against bringing in someone else of decent level. They don't have to be Mo Salah, you know, they don't have to be Mane, but I'd like to see another option in that front four going forwards. And maybe we'll see all of them on the pitch tomorrow. Who knows? With the injuries we've got in midfield, maybe we'll go with a front four at home, which we've not seen for a few weeks. But
only way to keep Mane happy at this stage. I mean, there was that. I think when he walks straight off the field at the Man United game, doesn't celebrate with the rest of the team. So yeah, we've got to keep him happy. So I don't know. Yeah. Front four might be the only way.
Could be.
Cry baby.
But we're gonna do our score predictions as we always do towards the end of the show. So have a little think. Courtney, have you got a score prediction, or should I come back to you?
I'm gonna go with 3-0. 3-0 Liverpool.
I'd expect nothing less from you. You're confident the whole time.
Yeah. Not like a 7-0 though. Come on.
No,
I'm
not 7.
confident, but I'm not
Yeah,
unrealistic.
where is Jericho? Jericho normally comes in and says 7-0
normally comes in with a
until he
7,
gets one
doesn't he?
right.
But the one time he doesn't come in, it will be 7-0, guaranteed. It's like when you play your lottery numbers. The one week you
That's
forget,
true.
they come in. So we've got a 3-0 from Courtney. George, something similar, mate?
I actually think I did say 3-love, didn't I,
three.
Pete, on the training ground?
Yeah, you
So
did, yeah.
let's
Yeah, you did,
let's go with 3-love.
Okay. You saying the same thing, Pete, or you got something slightly
No,
different?
I'm going. It's going to be for me 2-0 or 2-1, somewhere there. We'll be close.
Okay. So possibly conceding.
Yeah.
I hope not. I need a clean sheet. I need to get back to clean sheets. So I think it's going to be a pretty straightforward game. I don't see Brighton scoring. I think revenge tour, as Thiago's father would say, it's another one. We've got to make the t-shirt. We've got to do like the bands do, all the tour dates where they're playing, all the games on the back, cross out the 2020 result and get the tick in there again. You know, we've not lost to anybody that we lost to last season. I think Watford, last time we played them, we lost. You know, City and Chelsea at home, we lost. So we're putting them right this season. I agree with Pete though. I think 2-0. I'd love to see more. I underestimated us at Watford and at Old Trafford. So maybe I'm doing it again, but I'll stick with 2. Hopefully Mo Salah carries on. I don't see a team that he's not going to score against. So you know, he's I think he broke 4 records against Manchester United at the weekend. He could break another one tomorrow if he scores. What would that be? 11 games in a row? I think that's
11, the record is 11.
Jamie Vardy, isn't it?
Yeah, 11 in a row.
So is that 11 Prem games
He's
or
not
11
going to want
games?
to be on level. He's going to want to beat that.
So is it? It's not 11 Premier League games in a row he's scored in, is it? Or
No,
it's just
11
Liverpool games. So I think Vardy's record is Premier League games in a row. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is too. It was, yeah, because he broke Benny Story's record, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, who stops him? He must have 7 or 8 games in a row. I think he scored in every game this season. I can't. Is there anyone he hasn't scored in?
No, there was one game where he didn't because I remember him trying hard.
Yeah.
To score.
So he's ruined his streak.
I'm going to answer, and I want to answer Antonio here quickly because he asked earlier about where's my Wanderers hat, and he just expected here. But for Antonio, I apologize, I'm not wearing the hat. But you know, next week if I'm on the FAB 4, I'll wear my jersey for you. How's that?
Oh, fair play.
There you go.
Good way to come back. So I think here we go. We've got someone in the comments didn't score against Burnley, so potentially he scored every game since then. So that would be what 7 or so games in a row, 8 games in a row. So he's not far off it if he keeps on going. We've not got the most difficult run of fixtures coming up, so could we see another record fall? But hopefully we see a Liverpool victory. I haven't seen anything that makes me think we're not going to win pretty comfortably. But one more question before I let you guys go. 3 p.m. It's in the UK. It's not televised in the UK. Is it televised for you guys in Australia?
Yeah, 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Okay. I know you've got about 5 different subscriptions that you have to sign up to.
Yeah.
Oh no, not yet.
So
we're still okay right now for the Premier League. We're lucky enough that it's just the one. It's just Optus Sport, which is great, and I don't think that's going to last very long. I think they bought that a few 2-3 years ago, Pete, and they're just they're on an absolute comparatively cheap contract that is going to be stolen from them very quickly, and they know it. So they're pumping ads all throughout. So you're watching a game and you see ads coming up, and you're watching highlights, and an ad will interrupt you. It's like they're just getting every penny that they can, but not for long. I think it's someone else is going to buy it off them. Yeah,
fair enough. Courtney, are you going to be watching the game? You're going to try and find a stream, or?
Oh yeah.
There's always a way.
Yeah, I will find a stream. I'll always find a stream.
What do you think about that in the UK? Do you think it's just ridiculous? Do you think there should be a way of watching every game?
I don't know. Well, when COVID was happening, they televised all of them. Like, why can't they just keep it like that? What was the big deal?
Yeah, it's a strange one that you can't watch your own team, no matter how much money you throw at it. You can't get the game tomorrow in the UK. It's physically impossible.
That's unbelievable.
Did you guys remember signing up to LFC TV back in the day? We're talking 2000, and I might be showing my age here. 2005, 2004. You would actually watch the game, like LFC TV used to televise it. I remember watching.
Now you only get the audio commentary now.
Yeah,
oh my
exactly.
God. You're paying £100 a year. You should get access to a live game. Why not?
I think it's the first Liverpool game of the season that's not televised. Even the cup games, Norwich and Preston, have both been chosen by Sky Sports. So wherever you're watching the game tomorrow, I hope you enjoy it. Hope Liverpool get the victory. Coming up after the game, we've got Red Sea full time over on LFC Day Trippers. So James will be on there. I'm not available, so hopefully he's got another guest to do it with him, and we'll be doing another Fab 4 for Atletico Madrid on the Monday night as well, I believe. So George, Pete, Courtney, thank you very much for joining Fab 4 tonight. It's been a good one, and we'll see you guys next time.